CM Punk has been attacked again. A mystery figure just blindsided the best in the world backstage, and this time it's worse than ever. The wrestling world is in complete chaos right now, and you need to see this. What's up, Wrestling Region family? If you're new here, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell because we're about to break down the most shocking backstage attack in recent wrestling history. This is getting serious, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, if you thought the CM Punk saga couldn't get any more intense, think again. Reports are flooding in that CM Punk was ambushed backstage in what appears to be a calculated, brutal assault by the same mysterious attacker who's been targeting him for weeks now. According to eyewitness accounts from crew members and fellow wrestlers, Punk was making his way through the backstage area, presumably heading to his locker room after a scheduled meeting with management, when suddenly a figure dressed entirely in black with a hood covering their face emerged from the shadows and struck with devastating precision. Security footage reportedly shows the attacker using what appears to be a lead pipe, reminiscent of some of the most infamous backstage attacks in wrestling history. The assault lasted approximately 30 seconds before road agents and security personnel arrived on the scene, but by then the damage was done and the attacker had vanished into the maze of backstage corridors. This marks the fourth attack on CM Punk in the past 6 weeks, and the pattern is becoming increasingly concerning. Each assault has been more aggressive than the last, and each time the mystery attacker has managed to evade capture despite enhanced security measures. The first attack occurred 3 days after Punk's return to television following his injury recovery. He was found unconscious near the catering area with what doctors later confirmed was a concussion. At the time, many dismissed it as an accident or perhaps an unfortunate mishap in the chaotic backstage environment. The second incident happened 2 weeks later during a live event. Punk was ambushed in the parking garage as he arrived at the arena. This time, there were witnesses who described the attacker as wearing all black with their face completely obscured. The assault was quick, violent, and clearly premeditated. Attack number 3 took place just 10 days ago when someone sabotaged Punk's rental car, causing him to crash on his way to a media appearance. Thankfully, Punk escaped with only minor injuries, but the investigation revealed that the brake lines had been deliberately cut. And now this fourth attack, which sources say was the most vicious yet. Medical personnel were immediately called to the scene, and Punk was reportedly conscious but in significant pain. The extent of his injuries hasn't been officially disclosed, but insiders suggest he may have sustained cracked ribs and a possible shoulder injury. The wrestling community has been working overtime trying to identify the mystery attacker, and theories are running wild across social media. Let's break down the most compelling suspects and examine the evidence for each. Could this be someone from Punk's extensive history seeking revenge? CM Punk has made enemies throughout his career, from his controversial departure from a certain wrestling promotion in 2014 to his outspoken nature that has rubbed many people the wrong way. There are several names from his past who might harbor enough resentment to orchestrate something like this. Some fans are speculating about former rivals who feel Punk wronged them or buried their careers with his influence backstage. The time frame and calculated nature of these attacks suggest someone with intimate knowledge of arena layouts and Punk's schedule, which points to someone with experience in the wrestling business. Perhaps the most disturbing theory is that someone currently on the roster is behind these attacks. The access required to repeatedly target Punk in secure backstage areas suggests the attacker isn't just some random fan who managed to sneak in. They know exactly when and where Punk will be, which indicates insider information. Several wrestlers have had documented issues with CM Punk over the years. His return has shifted the spotlight and changed the political landscape backstage. Could someone feel threatened enough by his presence to resort to violence? The wrestling business has a long history of backstage politics turning personal, and this situation has all the hallmarks of a deeply personal vendetta. Now, we have to address the elephant in the room. Is this all part of an elaborate storyline? Wrestling has a long tradition of blurring the lines between reality and fiction, and these attacks could be a carefully orchestrated angle designed to build toward a massive confrontation. However, multiple sources close to the situation have insisted that these attacks are not part of any planned storyline. The injuries Punk has sustained are real, and the company is reportedly taking these threats very seriously. If this is a work, it's being protected at the highest levels, and very few people are in on it. Perhaps the most frightening possibility is that the attacker is someone completely off everyone's radar. A new talent nursing a grudge, someone from Punk's life outside wrestling, or even a disturbed individual obsessed with the former WWE champion. The methodical nature of these attacks and the attacker's ability to evade capture suggests careful planning and possibly professional training. Management has released a brief statement expressing concern for CM Punk's well-being and assuring fans that they're working with local law enforcement to identify and apprehend the individual responsible. Security has reportedly been tripled backstage, with additional personnel specifically assigned to protect Punk whenever he's at company events. There's also talk of implementing new security protocols including enhanced background checks, restricted backstage access, and the installation of additional security cameras in areas that were previously considered safe zones. The company is taking this threat seriously, especially given the escalating nature of the violence. Some insiders suggest that management is considering pulling Punk from television temporarily for his own safety, though Punk himself has reportedly refused to be intimidated and insists on continuing to work. That's classic CM Punk, never backing down from a fight, but many worry that his stubbornness could lead to even more serious consequences. This situation has massive implications for upcoming shows and pay-per-view events. CM Punk was scheduled to be a major part of several high-profile angles and matches in the coming months. If he's forced to take time off to recover from these attacks, or if his safety cannot be guaranteed, creative plans will need to be drastically altered. The uncertainty surrounding Punk's status has also affected other wrestlers whose storylines are intertwined with his. Sources suggest that backup plans are being developed, but the company really wants to keep Punk on television given his drawing power and the ratings boost he provides. The wrestling community has absolutely erupted over these developments. Social media platforms are flooded with theories, analyses, and demands for answers. The hashtags related to this story have been trending worldwide, with fans dissecting every piece of available evidence like amateur detectives. Some fans have created elaborate conspiracy boards connecting dots between various wrestlers and potential motives. Others have compiled video footage from previous shows looking for clues about the attacker's identity. The engagement around this story has been astronomical, which some cynics point to as evidence that it might be a work after all. However, the genuine concern from fans cannot be dismissed. Many are worried about CM Punk's physical and mental well-being. After fighting so hard to return to wrestling following his injuries, the idea that his career could be cut short by these cowardly attacks is devastating to his supporters. The big question everyone's asking is, what comes next? Will the attacker strike again? Will they finally be caught? And most importantly, will CM Punk get his revenge? If history has taught us anything about CM Punk, it's that he doesn't take attacks lying down. Once he identifies who's behind this, there will be hell to pay. But until then, Punk remains in a vulnerable position, and the mystery continues to deepen. Law enforcement is reportedly treating this as a serious criminal matter, with investigations ongoing. If the attacker is identified and caught, they could face significant legal consequences including assault charges, battery, and possibly even attempted murder depending on the severity of the injuries and the intent behind the attacks. From a wrestling perspective, whenever this situation is resolved, whether through a revelation on television or a real-world arrest, it's going to create one of the biggest moments in recent wrestling history. The anticipation and suspense building around this story is off the charts. So there you have it, Wrestling Region family. CM Punk has been attacked once again, and the mystery deepens. Who do you think is behind these attacks? Drop your theories in the comments below because I want to hear what you all think about this crazy situation. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to stay updated on all the latest wrestling news and developments, make sure you're subscribed to Wrestling Region with notifications turned on. We'll be following this story closely and bringing you updates as soon as they break. Hit that like button if you want CM Punk to get his revenge, and share this video with your wrestling friends who need to know what's going down. Until next time, Wrestling Region family, keep it locked right here for all your wrestling content. Peace.